Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sara's View of Life. I am Sara Troy. Each week I bring you a different topic of something that is my perspective, something I've seen, something that I observe that I'd like to speak to. This week I put it out to a couple of people on Facebook. What would you like me to talk about? And these are the subjects that have come back. One was on autism. I've done many shows on autism. All you have to do is go to selfdiscoveryradio.com and put in autism in the sidebar, and you will see all the many shows that I've done on that. Autism, what is it? Well, we understand that it just might be a way of interacting, perceiving, and socializing differently. We see so much of it on the climb today. Is it something we're eating? Is it something that's in the genes? What is happening? There are so many different views of it, and we cover them on these shows. And one of the view is that it could be very much a cosmic thing. Maybe they are our indigo children, because what we're seeing with our autistic children today is that they are a gift. They have an ability to do something differently, something quite profound, really creative, very impactful, and they do it very well. And in that gift, they are our teachers. They are showing us that just because you learn differently or you're not conventional, that doesn't mean that you are incapable. Now, one of the things about autism that does happen is that sometimes it can be put with OCD and many other disorders, and then you do have somebody that really is living a very challenged life because there's multiple things going on at once. And, having spoken to some mothers of autistic children, where they say there's feces on the wall and temper tantrums and sometimes, fighting that person that is maybe bigger than you, and how do you get them under control? Yes, there are those sides of things, but through nurturing, through caring, through believing, through focusing and directing, they have managed to have children now that are either in college or have degrees or written books, and it's quite extraordinary who they are. You see, they just, a lot of the time, just do not socially interact with us in the same way other people do. That doesn't mean to say that there's something wrong with them. They're just wired differently and they interact differently and work on a different frequency. We are very judgmental as a human race on how we perceive things. We demand that everybody does everything the same. Well, if you're different, there's something wrong with you. That is not the case. It means that we've actually embraced the differences within us, the way we see things, the way we interact. I was always considered a slow learner, never amount to much. I only had 6 years of schooling out of 12 because of ill health. So it was, she's never going to get very far. And academically, no, I didn't. Because I was one of these people that I could not learn something I didn't see a reason for. I'm also a channeler, and I channel knowingness, that knowledge you need to know when you need to know it. And I find that there's so much that has gone in my database, in my mind's programming, that very often I will come out with things that I didn't know I knew, but I didn't need to know them until that moment. And I think very often autistic kids are very much like that. They're in that sense of knowingness. They're channeling what they know. They're directional on how they see things, and that's what they're addressing. They just don't have all of this other stuff out there, which sometimes can be very diverting from the truth or from the purpose and from what you really want to say. I think perhaps actually that I might be a little bit on the Asperger's or autism scale. I mean, I'm social and interactive, but the learning disability I have, I know, is part dyslexia, but it's the inability to retain lines because I am very instinctual. What you're getting here now is not being written out, it's just what comes out. And I don't retain those lines that are being written by others, etc. That's why When I went into acting, I had to write the scripts because I couldn't even remember those. I remembered the gist of them when I got out on the stage, and then I just spoke from there. Just because we interact differently, that we learn differently, that we use our knowledge in a different way, does not mean that we're faulty. And when we are looking at these children today, autism, indigo children, spiritual children, what we are looking at is children that have embraced a different view. And I think what we're doing is knocking down those walls, throwing away those boxes and understanding that we cannot paint everybody with one brush. And it's good because we are so colorful. We are so many things. We're not any one thing. We are the experiences of our lives. We are the perception. We are the interaction. We are the wonderment and the possibilities, everything that lies within us. And we are going to be many things through life. Now that leads to another question that was asked of me about the consciousness. I'm actually going to put my glasses on and read it so that I actually word it in the right way. Sorry, folks, glasses glare, I know, but I want to make sure that I'm actually honoring the question properly. So the question that was asked is, how about the lack of society's ability to reach self-actualization? And that was done by Lance A. Davis. The autism was asked by Tammy Aronovitz Goldstein. And then I have another question upcoming by Dane Light about meditation compared to contemplation, and what else that can actually mean. So let's look at this question about the lack of society's ability to reach self-actualization. Well, I actually think that we all have the ability. I think what it is that for many, many people, A, they don't realize they have the ability. B, they don't know how to tap into that ability because they don't realize they have it. And C, we have a society that's still on an old paradigm, running on an old program or loop that doesn't realize that we need to tap into this, that we need to open up into this. What we have seen in the last 6 years is the volume has been turned up on our frequency, on our vibrations, on our energy. We're now opened up to the fact that the universe is all mathematical equation energy where everything is measured. We are a part of the universe. That's what we were made from. Every single particle of us has an energy signature, mathematical one that can be measured in hertz and frequencies and vibration. And the more that we raise that vibration, and I'm not talking about raising voice or becoming hysterical energy, I'm talking about turning our volume up on our resonance, on our vibration, on our interactions. The more we do that, the more we become aware of the consciousness around the world and how to interact with it. See, we're stepping into heart, we're stepping into love, we're stepping into our own sense of peace, our own serenity. And the more that we do that and we live from that place, the more invitational we are, and the more in that beautiful, tranquil, harmonious space that we're in, the more that we resonate out on that frequency, the vibration of love. Now, I don't care who you are, where you are, what degrees you have. Everybody needs some love. Now, there are many, many teachers that would teach law of attraction, that would teach other various interactions from a very scientific point of view. And we need the science. We need to actually understand sometimes exactly what things mean. But without the partnership of the heart and that consciousness and that caringness towards one another, it is only a segment of the meaning and it's not the whole picture. So I think that society is ready, it is hungry, it just perhaps doesn't know how. But of course, here in Self-Discovery Radio, this is the how. You're sharing and listening to people who have shared their stories of how they came into their own conscious awakening, where they were, what kind of thinking had them trapped, that spiral of constantly chasing their tail, what it was that woke them up, the path that it's taken them to now, and what they've developed because of it that now can help you on your journey of life. Because we learn from other people. The best is when we learn from other people's experiences. It also is inspirational, it's invitational, it's illuminating, and we go, if they can, so can we. So why don't we? It's a willingness and a choice to say, I want something more that I don't know and I wish to know, and to be open to listening, to hearing, to learning, to applying. And that is up to you. The consciousness is right there within you. The answers are lying right there within you. But by hearing them from other people, it triggers that knowledge within you, that knowingness, that channeling divine connection, that then opens up for you to actually understand your meaningful purpose here in the world, your contribution, and also the gift of who you really are, because we need that gift. So the other question was about meditation, I believe. Let me just double check on it to make sure that I actually do have the credit. Compared to contemplation, meditation. Now, I'm a contemplator, most certainly. You won't get me cross-legged on the floor meditating, partly because you won't be able to get me back up again. But I'm not one of these people, the hum and ha. I do contemplate. I'm one of these people that I'm intrigued by knowledge. I love whodunits and how minds unravel and how we get to our answers. But I also do very much trust instinctually that knowingness, that channeling of knowing what you know when you need to know it without needing to validate it. So although I do contemplate, my meditation, I would say, would actually come in the form of channeling, of allowing, of letting that knowledge flow through you. And when you are in meditation, you're in breathing, because I'm a big believer in the breath. Do that 3 times. You see your body becomes erect. You're opening up your chakras. You're allowing things to come down and channel through you. And then there is a sense of openness and of understanding. One of the things you've got to do is feel your knowledge to think your knowledge. Don't think it to feel it. If we try and think it, we get stuck on those thoughts. But what if? But should it? Can it? And we get stuck there. And when we go right down to the other cylinders in our vehicle, the gut, the heart, the soul of that resonates with the heart. I get this, I like this, goes to the spirit into action. And then the mind knows what it needs to know when it needs to know it. Well, now you're in that whole flow, that whole circle of understanding. And that in itself is a meditation, because you are allowing yourself to open up, to receive, to understand, to apply. Meditation is about finding your balance. It's about keeping that equilibrium so you can be open to the knowledge that is given you. Once you're given that knowledge, you can then contemplate it. What do they want me to do with this? Where shall I go with this? And that is when you contemplate the knowledge that you've been given. So these are my perspectives. Having interviewed such wonderful people on autism, people who have written books, the autistic DJ, David Snape, his journey, people who didn't know they were autistic but lived that challenged life and just didn't realize that that was what the problem was, kids who have gone on to get degrees and apply themselves to things. It's just shows you the limitations of what we put upon ourselves. And that goes for our consciousness, that goes for everything about us, is that if we look at ourselves as unlimited, and that there's so many possibilities, and that yes, this vessel can only do so much, right? We can't turn ourselves into a pretzel, though sometimes it can feel like that. We're limited by what this vehicle can do, and we can take this vehicle as far as it can go. But we are not limited to where our conscience could go, where our dreams and our visions and our possibilities can go. And we can live in those parallel dimensions. We can get up there and explore all the absolute expansion of what we're capable of. Because it's when we go there that we come back with that beautiful vision and inner vision of creativity that we make happen. How do you think all these people that have changed our lives, changed the theory of life, come up with such creations as the computer, the internet, math itself, fractalization, and Leonardo, not DiCaprio, the other Leonardo da Vinci, and all of these people, Tesla, Einstein, they were people that were open to receive the knowledge. And the thing is, they just were smart enough to actually understand what that knowledge meant and how to apply it. And look what it means to us today, that knowledge. So that is the consciousness of being open to the knowledge, understanding and how to use it. Understanding it is to serve. community, humanity, global, universal, because we are all part of it. Every single one of us, black, white, pink, yellow, who cares what your religion is? We are all part of the same source, the same material. And so when we actually understand that, and that we all need each other, and we can all contribute to each other, and we are all meant to step up and contribute to this planet, then we actually get understanding what that consciousness is. So I would suggest step into some kindness. First, kindness of self. Stop beating yourself up for what you think you should know, or what expectations have been put upon you, or all the things that you think you've done wrong, or that you're a failure because you didn't fit into that person's box, or that person's ideals, or what society dictated over there. Take that breath. Open up. Tap into something that means something to you. That heart connection. I love doing this. Can you do it well? You don't know until you try it. Everything I've done, including these radio shows, I didn't know I could do it. I just went ahead and gave it a try. And you learn things along the way. And you maybe go and perfect some skills in order to do it better. But the point is, if it's not coming from the heart, and it's only coming from the head and the expectation, or from the dollar dictation, then you're going to constantly be chasing yourself and looking for a meaning, a connection, an understanding of why you're here. We want you to be that beautiful musical instrument that you are. Perfect your beautiful instrument and bring it to the orchestra of life, and let us create a harmonic symphony that then resonates an invitation to everyone else, because we can. Autistic, OCD, any other mental challenges, even just the daily stresses that we live with, we are capable of stepping into our beautiful divine open consciousness, God, source, energy, no matter which way you look at it, and applying it, letting it enter us, allowing it to show us where we need to go, and then willingly step into that purpose, because that's what we're here for. That purpose. So I hope that I've managed to cover these topics a little bit. Next week, please, I'm going to put out the same question. What would you like me to talk about? And I'll be glad to, from my perspective, just say what I see. So stop judging somebody because you think label, autistic, they must be this way or that way. They're just wired differently. They interact differently. How about you change your knob and interact with them on their frequency? Consciousness, it's within you. Okay, stop buying into what society says you will only make you rich or famous or loved if you do this, and understand it's an inside job. Open up to your consciousness within you. Tap into you. Love and care for you, and you will exude that out. And meditation versus contemplation. Meditate in any way that you can that will open up your channels to receive. Then contemplate the knowledge that you've been given, because that will help you step into your own action. So this is Sara Troy from Sara's View of Life here in Self-Discovery Radio. I look forward to answering your questions to you next week, okay? Love and divine. Catch you next time. For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.